In this video, I will grinding from level 700 to level 2600. But before we start, I'll change my Blocks fruit into Buddha. To get Buddha fruit, I will just wait for him to appear at the Blocks fruit dealer. Now we have Buddha.
Okay.
Next I will look for Saber Sword, so we can use it for efficient grinding. To get the Saber Sword first, we have to complete Saber Puzzle. This puzzle is quite easy, where we only have to solve the puzzle in the jungle to get a torch, then take it to the desert to get a cup, then take it to the frozen village, then fill it with water, then give it to Sickman. And after some blah 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 blah, we now have a saber that we can use for grinding. Alright, it's grinding time. I have to defeat 8 raiders here. And this is an annoying start because these NPCs have quite a strong knockback. When you try to gather them, they will keep pushing you back.
Okay.
Luckily, after some time, I finally reached level 725 and could do the next quest. This quest is quite easy because the NPCs are quite close together and don't have too much annoying knockback. Anyway, I still don't have the instinct ability here, so I decided to go back to the first sea to buy it. Instinct allows us to dodge some NPC attacks, making it very useful for grinding.
The next day.
Now that we have the Instinct ability, and after 1 hour of grinding, we've reached level 800. From level 800 to 825, we will be fighting factory staff NPCs. These NPCs drop an item called radioactive material, which we can use to upgrade the Saber Sword. I grinded for 15 minutes and finally got 5 radioactive materials. Now I can upgrade my Saber Sword to increase its damage for 8%. After upgrading my sword, I didn't go back to the factory staff NPCs. Instead, I went to the Swan Pirates NPCs because their positions were closer to each other, and there were no players disturbing me here. After 15 minutes of grinding, we reached level 876. Thanks to the help of double XP from Code Redeem, we can finally get to the next island. After a long journey and endless grinding, I managed to reach level 950. From here, I continued my journey to Graveyard Island until I reached level 1000, then moved on to Snow Mountain, grinding until I nearly passed out, and eventually reached level 1100. At this point, the moment I had been waiting for had finally arrived. I had fulfilled the requirement to awaken Buddha, which is reaching level 1100. But there is one big challenge that I have to go through before I can get the awakened Buddha, and that is the Buddha raid, one of the hardest raids in this game. So rather than being reckless and going solo and ending up miserable, I decided to seek help, and luckily there are 2 people who want to help me here. With the team ready, we immediately entered the arena to start the raid. We fought our way through island after island until we finally reached the last island, where the battle against the Buddha boss began. This part was incredibly difficult because the boss had extremely high HP, dealt massive damage, and also had damage reduction from the Buddha ability. As a result, one of my teammates fell, but the rest of us managed to survive. Luckily, after a tough battle, we finally managed to defeat him. After that, we were transported to a mysterious place where we met an NPC who allowed us to purchase the awakened Buddha. After successfully getting the awakened Buddha, I immediately returned to the first sea to show off and flexing, but unfortunately, I got humbled. Rather than wasting my time in the first sea, I decided to go back to the second sea and search for an accessory called Swan Glasses. This accessory provides excellent buffs for grinding, including a 25% increase in movement speed, an 8% boost in damage, an 8% reduction in skill cooldown, an 8% boost in defense, and an additional 250 energy and 250 health. This accessory can be obtained by defeating Don Swan, who has a 10% drop chance for Swan Glasses. This boss is located in a mansion called Swan's Room. However, to access this room, I first had to meet Trevor and give him a fruit worth 1 million Beely. After that, I was able to enter Swan's room and fight against Don Swan. Since he didn't drop the item, I decided to server hop and fight him again. I repeated this process over and over until I finally got it. With awakened Buddha and Swan Glasses, we can now grind faster than before. From level 1100, I will be grinding on Hot and Cold Island until level 1250. However, at level 1209, I decided to take a break and went to a cafe to change the color of my hockey aura. Here, I chose orange soda. After getting the new aura color, I went back to Hot and Cold Island and continued grinding until level 1250. Once I reached level 1250, I returned to the cafe to try rolling a fruit at Zioli's, and this is what I got. I got dough fruit, which has a very high value. After getting dough fruit from Zioli's, I moved to the cursed ship to continue grinding. Here I encountered various friendly NPC, but I wasn't sure what their purposes were, so I just kept grinding until I reached level 1349. While grinding, a cursed captain suddenly appeared, so I immediately rushed to his room and fought him. Anyway, there is a 1% chance of obtaining a torch from him, which is required to unlock the ghoul race, but unfortunately he didn't drop it. Now that we have reached level 1350, before continuing to grind, I will upgrade my race. Currently, I am using the human race, and I will evolve it to Human V2. First, to obtain Human V2, I need to complete Bartilo's quest. In this quest, I must defeat 50 swan pirates, take down boss Jeremy, and free the prisoners. After completing Bartilo's quest, the next step is to finish the alchemist's quest. He asks me to collect 3 flowers. After a long journey, I finally gathered all 3 flowers, completed the alchemist's quest, and successfully unlocked the Human V2 race. Next, I grinded in Ice Castle. After 20 minutes of grinding, I suddenly got the library key. I immediately searched for the room where I could use this key and found Fuyu the Reformed. I didn't know what this NPC was for, but she told me that I wasn't prepared enough. So, I decided to continue grinding. When I was almost level 1400, I suddenly got another key. This time, a silver one. I immediately searched for a place to use it. After looking around, I still couldn't find the corresponding room. So instead of wasting my time, I opened Google to search for its location. It turns out that this key is used to unlock Rengoku, which is hidden in a room on the right side of the stairs. Without hesitation, I went there, unlocked the door, and obtained Rengoku. This sword has higher attack speed, a better hitbox, and greater damage. So, I decided to switch from Saber to Rengoku. After getting Rengoku, I continued grinding until level 1425. After that, I went back to the cursed ship to fight the cursed captain once again. But unfortunately, he still didn't drop his torch. By the way, while I was there, I visited an NPC to buy a new gun called the Bizarre Revolver. After that, I went to another NPC to purchase the Midnight Blade. This sword is quite good, but compared to Rengoku, Rengoku has a higher attack speed, so I still use Rengoku as my main sword. Then I went to Cursed Island for continue leveling. When I'm grinding, I met the barista cousin. I interacted, and unfortunately, my aura was not strong enough to buy anything from him. Here, I just found out that aura also has levels. And to find out the level of our aura, we only need to see which part of the body has the visual. And here the aura that I have is only level 3. After realizing the sad fact that my aura was only level 3, I continued grinding until I finally reached level 1500. With this level, we can now go to the third sea. Before heading there, we first need to talk to an NPC in the Colosseum. Here we meet King Redhead, who asks us to disrespect Indra. So I immediately teleported to Indra's location and fought him. When Indra's HP dropped to 50%, an epic cutscene suddenly appeared. We receive an email from King Redhead stating that he has been sealed by Indra in the Third Sea and needs our help. So, I immediately rushed to Mr. Captain to ask for a ride to the Third Sea.
Later.
After a long loading screen, we finally arrived in the Third Sea. I immediately took the quest and started grinding until level 1575. After that, I went looking for a mansion to use as my home. Inside the mansion, I found some new NPCs, such as the Awakening Expert, who can revert our Blox fruit to its unawakened state, and the Title Specialist, who allows us to choose a title. Here, I decided to go with Enlightened One. Next, I went to Hydra Island to continue leveling until I reached level 1625. Then, I took a quest from the Elite Pirate Hunter to obtain a Hunter Cape. However, instead of getting the Hunter Cape, I got a red bandana. But that's okay since both accessories have almost the same abilities. The only difference is that the bandana increases energy, while the Hunter Cape increases max HP. After getting the bandana, I continued grinding until level 1700, then moved to Great Tree Island and kept grinding until level 1775. After that, I headed to Turtle Island and leveled up to 1875. While I was there, I checked the fruit dealer, and suddenly a kitsune was in stock. Without hesitation, I bought it and switched to it for grinding, since I was getting pretty bored with the Buddha gameplay.
The next day.
I immediately regretted buying this fruit. It takes much longer to complete quests and clear NPC compared to Buddha, because its M1 damage isn't as high as Rengoku's. On top of that, its M1 has a knockback mechanic that pulls opponents, making it quite difficult to use. So, in short, I basically wasted 8 million belly out of curiosity. I grinded while crying until I finally reached level 1930. Here, I also reached Mastery 299 on Kitsune and was just about to unlock its transformation ability. After defeating a few more enemies and gaining enough EXP, I finally unlocked the transformation. Now, here it is, the fully transformed Kitsune.
Later.
Unfortunately, there isn't a significant damage increase in its M1 ability. However, its Z and X skills have changed, though they don't make a huge difference in grinding speed. Next, after reaching level 1975, I went to the Haunted Castle to continue grinding until level 2000. After that, I took a break and traveled back to the Second Sea to upgrade my human race to V3. Here, I met Aroe, who tasked me with defeating Diamond, Jeremy, and Fajita. I immediately set out to defeat them, starting with Diamond, then Jeremy, and finally Fajita. After completing the task, I returned to Aroe, and he told me to pay 2 million belly to unlock Human V3. Here we get a new ability called Last Resort. Last Resort boosts the player's damage output the lower their health is, and it lasts for 6.5 seconds. After unlocking Human V3, I backed to the Haunted Castle and continued leveling up until I reached level 2026. While grinding, I stumbled upon a grave. Out of curiosity, I prayed at the grave and received 20 bones. Aside from that, I also found an NPC named Death King, who asked for 50 bones in exchange for random rewards. After wasting 50 bones on him, I went back to grinding for another hour until I finally reached level 2076. By then, I had collected 250 bones, ready to be given to Death King. This time, I got a 20-minute double EXP boost, which is really useful for grinding. Next, I went to Cake Island to continue leveling. Here, I felt that grinding on Cake Island took longer compared to Haunted Castle, especially since there is the Death King who can give us double EXP. So, I decided to go back to the Haunted Castle for leveling. I kept grinding until level 2206 and also collected 174 bones, which I then exchanged at the Death King. I received a Fire Essence. I had no idea what it was for, so I decided to Google it. It turns out that Fire Essence is an important item needed to obtain the Dragon Talon fighting style. Without wasting time, I rushed to Uzoth on Hydra Island to give him the Fire Essence. However, instead of receiving Dragon Talon, all I got was a simple thanks. Not satisfied with that, I searched again on Google and found out that besides Fire Essence, I also needed the Dragon Breath fighting style with 400 mastery. I immediately returned to the second sea to buy the Dragon Breath fighting style and then started grinding until I reached mastery level 400. After that, I went back to Uzoth, and finally, I was able to buy the Dragon Talon fighting style. After getting Dragon Talon, I went to the Sea of Treats to continue grinding, leveling up from 2,262 to 2,401, and then to 2,450. By the way, up until now, I had only been using Instinct V1, so I decided to upgrade it to V2. When I checked my EXP, I realized that my Instinct already had 5,000 Mastery EXP, which was enough to upgrade to Instinct V2. To get Instinct V2, we first need to complete the Citizen Quest, where we have to defeat 50 forest pirates. After finishing them off, we then have to take down Captain Elephant. Once the Citizen Quest was completed, the next step was to complete the Hungry Man Quest. This NPC asked us to bring him some decent food. I traveled to different islands and collected an apple from Turtle Island, iShowSpeed's favorite meal from Great Tree Island, and a pineapple from Port Town. However, when I tried giving him the fruits, he refused to eat them unless they were served in a bowl. To get the bowl, I had to go back to the Citizen NPC. After getting the bowl, I returned to the Hungry Man and gave him the food. With that done, I was finally able to buy Instinct V2. I continued grinding for about an hour, and before I knew it, I had reached level 2,600. By the way, I also managed to get Yama, but unfortunately, the video file got corrupted, so I can't show you how I obtained it. Aside from leveling, I also did some fruit trading and managed to collect quite a few fruits along the way. So that's where this video ends.